because a lot of people come to me and they're in positions where they have single parents. They don't know how to navigate that. Maybe it demotivates them, and it's just something that people are not necessarily taught. It's kind of the thing that you're just like going with, as it happens. And there's always a bunch of different scenarios. Me in a position where I have a single mom, father not present, bouncing. I was like, fuck, I don't even know. Maybe I counted my fingers for like 5 or something. I don't honestly remember at all. And I think the biggest thing that happened to me as a result of that was me having like a lot of, not necessarily envy. I had a lot of hatred, and I think that hatred is something that it eventually gets to a point where it's not beneficial for you anymore. And I was in a predicament where I had that mindset where I was like, okay, look, I don't give a fuck that you bounced. I'm gonna become successful, and it wasn't always like that. When I was younger, I was trying to be like, I had a victim mindset about it. I was like, yo, like, because I was a kid, right? I was like, dude, like, why would you bounce? Why would you leave your family? Like, why the fuck would you do something like that, right? And I think that mindset eventually transcended to more of a demonized type of thing, because I had a mentor tell me that eventually you're going to go from demonizing your parent if it's a bad relationship, demonizing, patronizing, and then humanizing. And I was in that, well, I probably still am in terms of that demonizing fact, where I'm like, why the fuck would you even do that? Like, you have everything sorted to you and you have all of life going for you in regards, and then you bounce on like your family. Like, I never understood that in terms of bouncing on your family. So then I was in a demonized phase, and so I kind of still on it. It's a little bit away from it. But then you kind of get to a point where that's your motivation that's pushing you. And you're probably in that position where you're getting pushed by your parents, maybe absence if you don't have, either your mom in your life, your dad in your life, or sometimes even fucking both. But it's a short fuse. I kind of see it as like similar to like a firecracker, right? When you have, or a firecracker or a firework, right? A firework, for example, you light it up and boom, it's burning, and then boom, it just pops, and that might be all the success that you achieve in that short period of time because of the amount of hatred that you have, simply because it's a good motivator to get ignited, like similar to a firework and that spark. But eventually it dies out. You don't have many fireworks that go and last forever. And that's something that I had to accept. I'm telling you, I was always in a position where I had that anger, but eventually it dies out. And alongside that, everything you're trying to prove to that individual, sometimes they don't even give a fuck. Like, you might go and put in all this work to bust your ass to try and prove something to somebody, whether it's an uncle, whether it's a mom, whether it's a dad, and they may not even give a flying fuck, like, at all. And that's why, with me having the no father in the picture, that's why it cracks me up when people are like, oh, bro, you coming from daddy's money. I'm like, bro, you know how fucking rich I would be if I came from daddy's money and had all those resources? But I'm like, I agree. I'm like, yeah, it is daddy's money and I'm daddy, bro. So like, you wanna come with it? That's what I'm fucking doing. That's not saying I'm rich or anything, but I'm getting there. But in that regard, it leads me to the second thing. Like, if you have a parent around, I would primarily just focus on trying to better that relationship to the best of my ability. And it just starts with small things. That's what I kind of realized. I think that if you don't give back now, you'll never do it later. Like, genuinely will not do it later, at least at the scale that you potentially can. Because I was in a position where had my single mom, right? And I was like, okay, once I make 100K a month, 50K a month, I'm going to give back X, Y, Z. But it's like, not every parent wants that. Maybe no parent wants money at all. Maybe they just want you to fucking spend time with them that's uninterrupted. And I always thought, what my mom wanted, until I realized that, like, she doesn't give a flying fuck about any of that, like, at all. Yeah, she'll be cool, like, if she gets retired by me, whatever. But she wants to be in a position where she at least has the full presence from the kid, right? So I look at that and I think, okay, well, how can I do that? Is it like, spending time with her to watch movies, or going and making food for her, being with her when she makes food, being in a position where right now I'm taking her to Niagara Falls, and then she's also going to New York business trip with me. And it's like, that's like the first time she's ever gone on a sort of business trip with me, and she's not really be able to do anything because I'm gonna be at the event. And you can't bring plus ones, and honestly it wouldn't even make sense to her. She probably wouldn't even give a flying fuck about it. But you have to look at it from the perspective that that's my first time doing something like that. And bettering that relationship with what you have ensures that you're in a position where once you get to that level that you want to be at, it's just like a natural thing, right? As opposed to a whole new brand new thing that you've never done before, simply because you thought that you were just going to wait and eventually to get there. And also that stage of life that you're waiting for sometimes isn't even guaranteed. Alongside that, it's maybe not even guaranteed that you get there in terms of the business, if you even fucking live long enough to get there, Life is not guaranteed at all. And also, if your parent lives long enough to get there, like, nothing is guaranteed. And if you don't make the most of what you have with the current situation that you're in, I promise you, you're just taking it for granted. And like I said, if you just be in a position where you go and do the most of what you can with what you have, with the relationship that you have, and then also you go and not have any fucking negative hatred towards your parents in a bad way for an extended period of time, I think you'll do just fine as a parent of a single, a son or daughter of a single parent. Just because, from personal experience, like I said, that fire will get you ignited for a little bit, but it's not gonna last. It's not gonna last at all, and eventually you get to a point where you're realizing to yourself, why the fuck am I even doing this? Like, this person doesn't care. I honestly don't even care if they care, and even if they did care, I don't want them in my life. So why the fuck are you gonna do it? And I just see it as, I think you just need to see it as something that is a good thing that happened for you, not to you. And when you look at it like that, and it's all about the perspective change, because everything in this world is about perspective, you approach it with a non-victim mentality, and you're able to approach it accordingly and realize, okay, this may have happened to me, and it may not be my fault, but it is my responsibility. Because I always try to point it out myself. I always be like, oh, like, this is, I always used to try to make it my fault. Like, what the fuck did I do? And it's like, if you're a kid, it's not you. Like, you're a kid. What point would the kid be a problem to a parent? Like, you should have never had that kid in the first place. And it's like, if your parents like that, that's maybe not even someone you want around. But obviously, I can't speak for everyone's situation. It ultimately comes down to the situation they have with their parents. But like I said, the only thing that you can control is, one, the relationship that you have with the existing parent you have, if you have anybody, if it's a grandparent that's in place of those parents, with what you have, making the most of it, even if it's literally just taking them to go get coffee, that's $5 fucking. Two, not having such a push for needing to prove someone wrong, because like I said, most of the time they don't even give a flying fuck. And three, being in a mentality where, one, it's happening for you, not to you, and you find some sort of external motivation or just purpose that's gonna go and push you, that sometimes you don't even know, but it just can't be that, like, it for an extended period of time. Because I'm speaking from personal experience, eventually it lights out and you realize multiple things based off of your situation. But like I said, it's just like a fire. Getting motivated by somebody leaving and needing to prove that point is simply just like a firework. Eventually you'll light out, you'll spark out. You'll spark up, and you'll go and have a bunch of motivation and ambition, and you'll push, but you'll get to a point where the fuse dies. And if you don't have something that's able to push you past that, then it's gonna be very hard to go and get ignited again. So you need to find something, whether it's like you're doing it for that single parent that you have, you're doing it to, for the future kid that you have, you may be doing it for fucking even some girlfriend that you have because you want to build a family with them, or wife, whatever. It just has to be something external that's ever growing. I mean, something internal and external that's ever growing, so you can physically see it with your eyes, whether it's in your mind because it's some vision you have, or it's just some sort of individual or goal that you have in your mind that, like I said, is ever growing. It isn't just gonna invalidate the work that you put in. Like I said, if you did it for your pops that bounce, and then you go and say, like, you go up to them, and if you ever see them again, you're like, hey, look, I did all this shit without you. I don't fucking need you. Don't be around my kids. It's like, okay, you sound good in that one moment, but after that, what's the deal? So there was just some random thoughts I had while I was driving. This camera setup is so ratchet. Hopefully I can fucking show you. Let me see. Hopefully you guys can see in the mirror the way this thing is set up, but yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Just some thoughts that I had, because like I said, if you're in a predicament where you're a son of a single parent or a daughter of a single parent, there's a lot of things that go through your mind. You're not going to be sure what to do. So these are just things that I've personally experienced, mindsets I still maintain to this day, thoughts that I've had even as of recently, because I've always said I'm not a perfect human being. I'm going through it day by day, taking it day by day, blessed to be alive every single day, and posting this to document this, because at the end of the day, that's all I can do. So if you have any questions upon how, you could better the situation that you're in based off of everything you heard through that, and you have some little, intricate advice that you may want, just leave a comment below. I normally respond to all of them, but I'm gonna keep posting like this, try to post like fucking almost every day on YouTube. I think I'm all in on YouTube for the next, maybe, I have no idea. Forever. That's what I'm going to be doing. So, you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If not, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I appreciate y'all.